Do you ever feel like the only swimming you're doing in the summer is swimming in clutter? If so, this may be the video for you. I thought it would be fun to talk about ways to keep the clutter down this summer. I have some tips that I'm excited to share, and I would love to hear your tips in the comments as well. Decluttering first almost always tops every one of my lists, whether it's a list for how to be more organized, or a list for how to be more productive, or in this case, how to have a more clutter-free summer. Decluttering is always a great place to start. Start your summer with a declutter. My husband and I went through as much of our house as we could last weekend when we had some downtime, and we did a thorough declutter. We got our kids involved as well, and I am always surprised at how much stuff we can get rid of, even though we're living in an already very decluttered home. Things come in so frequently, especially with kids, so I am using summer as a springboard for yet another declutter. I think it stems from the fact that clutter gives me more to manage, and with 3 kids at home, I don't need to be managing extra stuff. I want to be able to enjoy my kids this summer without feeling overwhelmed or be constantly cleaning up or picking up or maintaining things. Number 2, this summer I am going to be more mindful of what I am purchasing at Costco or Sam's. Now, I love Costco and Sam's Club, but I have found if I don't shop at those stores with intention, we end up with a lot of things from these stores that don't actually get used up. I have found a few things to be the culprit. First of all, I've learned I can't try new things from Costco or Sam's Club. If we like it, that's a win because a lot of times it's cheaper per unit to shop there. But if we don't like it, then we're stuck with something that no one will eat or use, and then I feel guilty for buying it, and then the guilt won't let me get rid of it, and it becomes clutter. And it's kind of a vicious cycle. So if I want to try something, I have to do it in smaller quantities first. At that point, if it's a win, then I can get it in a larger quantity from Costco or Sam's Club. From there, I have to be careful not to overbuy from Costco and Sam's. In the past, I have ended up with extra items because I've thought, oh, we'll use a lot of this. And then we don't end up using what I thought we would. Either we get sick of it before it's gone, or we don't end up needing how much I thought we would. So this summer, I am going to realistically buy the sunscreen and the popsicles that we will actually use. And if I'm not sure how much we'll actually use, I'm going to err on the side of having to make an extra trip to Costco or Sam's Club to get more, instead of having leftovers at the end of the summer. Specifically, I hate having leftover seasonal food at the end of a season. We don't eat popsicles unless it's warm outside, just like we only drink hot cocoa when it's cold outside. So this summer, I am aiming to not have bought so many popsicles that we have some left over when the seasons change. They may still be good next year, but I don't want to have to hold on to them in the meantime. That is the store's job, not mine. Another thing to consider, if you're like me and you have kids that will be out of school this summer, you're thinking about the amount of snacks and food it's going to take to keep kids fed this summer. During the school year, my kids take a home lunch to school, but they don't get to take their own snacks. So this summer, I'm going to need a lot more snacks to keep everyone fed. So while Costco and Sam's Club are a great way to get snacks at a cheaper price per unit, I'm only going to buy things that I know will get eaten. My idea of what I want my kids to eat and what my kids actually want to eat can be pretty different. So I'm going to be realistic and buy the snacks that I'm okay with my kids consuming, but that they're actually going to eat. And also, I'm coming to terms with the fact that I may never be the mom that has the pantry with 10 different kinds of snacks to choose from. I don't like keeping that much variety on hand because my experience has been that something often goes to waste. So we have a smaller variety of things that we use up and then we buy more, or then we buy something different. Number 3, this summer I am only going to buy things that we will actually use. I'll be honest, I love the seasonal section at Target, especially the spring and summer ones. Every year, I love to see what new and cute and brightly colored seasonal things they have. But I have learned to differentiate what is just cute and what is actually useful. And I have bought a couple of cute and useful things from this section over the years. But a few weeks ago, as I was browsing this section, or maybe I got sucked in, I don't know, I saw the cutest popsicle molds, and I was standing there trying to convince myself how fun it would be to make popsicles with my kids this summer. Until I reminded myself, I have literally decluttered 2 separate sets of popsicle molds over the past couple of years. As cute as they are, and as hard as I have tried to want to make them, homemade popsicles are just not my thing. So this summer, don't let yourself get sucked into buying things you won't use even if they are cute. Be really honest with yourself. What are you actually going to get around to? Don't buy something when you see it and think it's cute, but instead buy when you've actually noticed a need and have given that need a lot of thought as to if it really is even a need. Another thing that has been helpful for me has been to change my mindset from, if I don't buy this now, that means I can never have it, to, if I get the urge to make popsicles, for example, with my kids, this popsicle mold will still be here. And I have found that with a lot of things, I never do get the urge to do it. This simple mindset has helped me avoid a lot of clutter. Another area that almost always gets me is outdoor toys. All of my kids love to be outside, and I love to be outside with them. But there are certain things that I would buy that would not get used. And sometimes that does require a little bit of trial and error to figure that out. And sometimes we do end up with things that don't get used. And then those things eventually get decluttered. But most of the time, I have a pretty good idea of what wouldn't get used and what would get used. And it's not just outdoor toys. It can be gardening supplies, plants, things for an outdoor space. I could go on and on. All of these things can add clutter if we let them. But buying intentionally and not impulse buying are great ways to keep the clutter down. Number 4, this summer I am making sure often used areas are highly decluttered and not forgotten about. I'm thinking specifically of my car. We're spending a lot of time in the car this summer between going to swim lessons, baseball practices, going to the park, and going on road trips. So I'm going to make sure I keep my van highly decluttered and ready to go. But also I'm going to avoid keeping my car stocked. Have you seen the viral car stock videos that are so popular on the internet? You really don't need to keep your car stocked. I have found that there are very few things that I actually need to keep in my car from day to day. Obviously, I never want to be without water or a first aid kit, but I don't need to keep as many things in my car as the internet tells me to. Another area is my mudroom. It is right off my garage, so my kids are in and out of here dozens of times each day. We also come in here every time we get home, so it's a very trafficked area. So I'm going to make sure we only have the shoes in here that are seasonally appropriate and that actually fit. I'll be donating shoes that no longer fit because they aren't doing anything but adding clutter. I'll be making sure the snow boots and the rain boots and those kind of items are put away, and that is going to help keep this area clutter-free. I have a video all about how to do a seasonal refresh each season, so I'll link that below. I have also found that my mudroom is the best place for sunscreen and bug spray, and so those live in this bin right here. We want to be putting those things on to protect ourselves, so making them as easily accessible to outside where we would need them increases the chances that we will actually use them and put them back. Number 5, this summer I will be doing regular decluttering. Between going to theme parks, parties, parades, etc. Summer brings in a lot of stuff. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like summer is probably one of the top 2 times of the year that brings in the most stuff. Leave me a comment if you also have a lot of stuff that comes into your home during the summer. So staying on top of things that have become clutter is going to be key for me this summer. I don't declutter things that are well loved and regularly used, but I know not everything that comes in falls into one of these 2 categories. Some things that come to mind that I'm going to be decluttering are the scooter that my son never plays with and the bike that he's outgrown. I'm going to be honest with myself about what really gets used and what does not. And because I don't want to spend my whole summer decluttering, I'm going to make sure I take just a little bit of time often to declutter. If you're not familiar with my Less is More in 24 decluttering challenge, we are decluttering 1 item every single day. Looking for 1 thing each day to declutter really does make a huge impact. And when it comes to something like a scooter or a bike, those things take up a lot of room. So even though it's maybe 1 item, it can really pack a punch. Okay, I'm sitting here editing this video and I had another thought about something else I am consciously going to do to stop clutter this summer. And that is to be extremely cautious about shopping Amazon Prime Day. I love a good deal just as much as the next person, but it is easy to get sucked in to buying things because they're on sale and not because I actually have a need for them. So this Amazon Prime Day, I am going to buy only things that I was already planning to buy and hopefully get a good deal on them. For example, my mop is all but dead and I have been keeping it alive, but it is, every time I pull it out to use it, it's harder to get it to work.
So I am going to be buying a new mop, potentially on Amazon Prime Day, because I know I can probably get a cheaper price on one that I would be buying anyway. So don't let yourself get sucked into buying something just because it's a good deal. And don't make the same mistake that I have made in the past, and that is aimlessly scrolling through the deals just to see what's on sale. That almost always ends up with me buying something that I wasn't originally intending to buy. It's kind of the same concept as you shouldn't go to the grocery store hungry, because you almost always buy something that you weren't intending to buy that you wouldn't normally buy. It has been my experience that the purchases that I don't regret buying, or the things that come into my home that do not end up becoming clutter, are the things that I have thought out thoroughly, that I have intentionally bought with a purpose. Things that I end up regretting and then having to declutter later, those are almost always impulse purchases. I can't think of very many impulse purchases that I have made that I've actually been happy about long term. Be extremely cautious about Amazon Prime Day, because that will be happening this summer.
I guess all this to say, this summer, I don't want to be managing extra stuff. I want to be out and about and doing fun things, and I want to enjoy my summer with my family instead of being home taking care of things. I don't want to have things weighing on my mind. I want to be present this summer, and decluttering is going to help me do that. As always, I love hearing from you about what you're decluttering and what tips you have to share about how you're keeping clutter out of your home. Thanks for watching, friends. Have a great day.